You go to that, Madam Clerk. If there's no objection, let's go ahead and hear the garbage can item that we moved from consent, so that we don't have to hear it at the end of the evening. That is
Page 3, I believe. 2025-518, method of sole source selection for purchase of Bigbelly recycling and trash dual compactor receptacles. With the recommendation, the City Commission approve the sole source purchase of 75 Bigbelly receptacles and smart software, and authorizes the city manager and designee to enter into a sole source contract in the amount of $589,518, subject to the approval of the city attorney or designee as to form in the legality.
very good. Welcome.
Hey, good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. Jared Lloyd, Operations Manager, Public Works. Just wanted to talk about this a little bit since y'all wanted to bring it forward. So we're going to push for the purchase of 75 units to replace our traditional open-top garbage cans. The 75 units are actually technically 150 units because they're double. You have side-by-side units, so one garbage, one recycling. And per the city ordinance, we have to have recycling as convenient as garbage. So these meet that goal for us. The units, we have 44 currently across the city. They've proven to be reliable. They've got very low maintenance costs. They also keep pests, birds, rats, varmints out of the open tops. We get a lot less calls on a Bigbelly enclosed unit than we do an open top unit. They have essentially a compaction rate of 5% or 5 times their size. So that will allow us to decrease the amount of pickups that we have to do on versus an open top traditional garbage can. Our open top traditional garbage cans are 10 to 20 years old, and they're on the verge of needing replacing anyway. And since the ordinance requires it, these are great options. They have a smart technology which can talk directly to our current work management system. So in real time, we can pull up a map and see the fullness of each unit within the city, which will allow us to kind of target pickups instead of running around the city looking at half full or empty garbage cans. So we'll get some greenhouse gas emission savings there, production increases, and labor cost decreases, as well as pickup frequency decreases. So it will, with the traditional cans, some of them in the busier areas are 2 to 3 times per week pickup for our in-house forces. This here would limit us to, a 1 week pickup frequency, barring a game day situation or some sort of special event where litter rates are very high. And I think with the software, we're going to have a very, very big ability to really kind of focus in and track and just do a much better overall pickup of our garbage within the city. Also, with the recycling units, we'll be able to divert some of the tonnage from the landfill and get those back into the reuse recycle system. And this is why we believe it's a great idea.
Very good, thank you. I will tell you that one of the complaints that I hear most often is overflowing existing open top garbage cans, or as you say, varmints playing around in the garbage can. And this eliminates both of those. What anecdotally, what's the performance like on the units that we currently own? We have about 45, is that right?
Right now we have 44. We had one that was taken out by a car crash. Okay. But we do have 44. They're very reliable. They're very safe. They're the only unit on the market that you can't get to the ram. So you don't have to worry about a child or somebody trying to reach into the can and getting their arm crushed by the compactor. Very, very safe unit, reliable. We spend less than $3,000 annually on maintenance. Very, very good unit. The solar power on these particular Bigbelly units have like a default safety feature for the battery. So they work really, really well in urban areas under trees, whereas other units, they have to have full sun. So the Bigbellies have a very low use of power, and if they fill them, the batteries get into a certain level, they'll actually go into a skip a cycle mode, so that until the sun comes up, they can recharge. We don't have to replace a battery.
Very good.
Yeah, they're
Okay.
very good.
Thank you for that. Commissioner Willetts.
Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Lloyd. So I remember seeing the ones we have around town here, and traditionally they've been pretty close to downtown. And we've had these now for roughly how long?
So I think the last batch we bought was in 2023.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what I want to ask is, now that we have downtown ambassadors who are collecting more of the stuff that's on the ground, do we see that we have to empty them less frequently, or they can be spaced further apart, particularly in the downtown that overlaps with the ambassadors area?
So I don't think so. So we have a litter crew that is dumping them during the week, one for solid waste, and then we have a hauler that is dumping them on the weekends. And so we're only doing 2 removals a week currently.
Okay. I just kind of wonder about the theory that if we have really nice trash bins that are never overflowing, or less often overflowing, that people will just go ahead and use them more as opposed to litter. But litter is kind of ubiquitous. It's going to continue happening. We can't change everyone's habit. So I wondered a little bit about that. And then, so I've seen these at the Charlotte airport indoors, which I thought was interesting and weird. I guess they get some sunlight, the main concourse at Charlotte airport. And then I'm familiar with the ones here. So it seems like if it's really helping with less, staff having to go do it, do we have to change how we empty these since it's a, higher weight? Do you have to send a different truck or different tools to make sure that people are safe when they're dumping a much heavier load?
No, honestly, they can go in and just pull the bin out and close up the bag and remove it. It's not super heavy, but it does allow for just more garbage, so it's not spilling out. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Well, thank you so much, and I'm glad to hear that we have varmints here, like we have varmints in Arkansas where I grew up. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Engel.
A couple quick questions on one. Obviously, there's some labor savings involved with this, not having to make as many trips. Also, not the cheapest garbage can you can find because we want something quality. Have we done anything, looked at like the kind of buyback time on how much labor is saving us versus the cost of the can or any of that?
So we haven't. It's hard to quantify those numbers until we have a before and after, right? So we can take the cost of what the open top units are, and then we get call outs for garbage overflowing
Sure.
pretty regularly. So if without actually having all the units in, it's hard to say, well, we're going to save this much, or our return on investment is going to be this, without kind of the full data package, because each individual garbage can is going to have its own traffic.
Sure.
So it's very difficult to tag an ROI on these currently. Yeah.
And what's kind of the rollout as far as, I know there's a lot of them downtown. Where is this batch going?
So this batch will be replacing every single open top can we currently have
All right, so this will be
in the right of
everything.
ways. Correct. Yeah, so this will replace all of our open tops. We would have to buy, if we didn't even buy these, we would at least have to buy 75 regular open tops, potentially 150 because they're 10 to 20 years old.
Sure.
And they run roughly $900 per unit. So, but yeah, thank you, Brian. but not the RTS units. Those will not be replaced. Those are handled by RTS under the FTA funding.
About the RTS, you mean the ones like at the
Bus stops. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Engel. Commissioner Book.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate the information. Just a few questions. So what's been our downtown feedback for those? Because we did replace them late 2023, a big cleanup. What's been the feedback there from that community?
So as far as I'm aware, we're getting a lot of good feedback. We do have a couple that we have to frequent more often just because of traffic, Starbucks area, stuff like that. But the people tend to like them more because it's hidden, right? It's not garbage. You don't have flies pouring out of them while you're outside trying to dine on the sidewalk. We're getting a lot of good feedback on them.
There was a little bit of concern about the ability to obtain personal information, surveillance. We've heard similar concerns as it relates to like red light cams, traffic, school zone cams. So what kind of information does this collect for us as it relates to the automation?
So this will collect all the data every time it hits 80% full. Every time we pull the door open to empty it, whether what percentage full it was, it will give us statuses on the health of the unit, the battery. It pretty much does a full diagnostic of itself, and it's real time. On a map, you can peel it up and you can see which units are 80%. You can even integrate these units with CityWorks and have it do a push notification. So if you've got some units that are hitting 80%, it'll automatically ping a service request and say, "Hey, come empty me. And with these units, we'll be able to take the ones that we currently have downtown and put them other places where we have open tops, and we'll be able to rewrap these units for a better downtown look, instead of that kind of blue, look that these have. We'll be able to wrap them and make them a little more downtown friendly.
The backup indicated that the capacity of these, and you referenced it, was much greater than what we are typically using in the areas that we have the receptacles.
So yes, so they're about a 15-gallon bin, and then they'll do a 5-gallon or 5 times compaction. So unless we're buying 96-gallon open tops, yes, it's going to hold a little more than the traditional.
That sounds like a lot more, actually, to me. The last thing just deals with the contract that we have, the vendor for these 150. Does that contract extend for how long?
So it's a one-time purchase of the units, and then it's a 5-year subscription to the software.
So we pay an annual additional monies each year for that, for the software, for the proprietary aspect?
Yes, sir. Yes, it's roughly $115 a unit annually is what we would pay for the software.
So the total figure that we have in our backup of essentially 589,000, does that include that, or is that additional?
That includes that.
All right, so that's very important. So 5-year contract includes the additional 4-year annual renewals as well as the initial purchase. It's not this year for those receptacles. It's this year plus 4 years of service on those moving out.
Yes, we'll get 60 months of service with this purchase.
Okay. All right. Thank you. You've laid out, it sounds to me like several of the advantages, for example, the capacity, the cost, the visual element, and things like that. So I appreciate that. And potentially something harder to quantify, which is less staff trips, less resource, less vehicles that have to move, using our vehicles basically to get to those things. All right, thank you for this information.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Book. Commissioner Duncan Walker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have been asked a series of questions around the surveillance issue, around the cans, around the units. And there seems to be a group of community members who are concerned that some of the surveilling information could be requested by ICE. And they are concerned with how the city would respond to that. And I know that may be something that you might not be able to speak to, but that is something that I've been asked by a few people. And I want to be able to provide at least some level of response because there seemed to be a sense of urgency in the request and the desire to understand how the city might respond to that. Is that something you can speak to? And can you tell us exactly what the information that we'd be gathering through the surveillance, what you've given us a little bit of information, but there's some concern. Let me just frame it like that and see if we can respond in any way.
Honestly, I can't speak to the surveillance of it. I'm not aware of the surveillance aspect. Sorry, Ron.
To our knowledge, the units don't collect any personal identifiable information. So we don't know who's walking up to them. We don't know who's putting trash in them. We don't know who's hanging out around them.
Okay.
It's just data about how much trash is in them, how many times the unit cycled, is the solar power working right, is the battery working right. We're not collecting any personal information with the cans.
Thank you very much for that information, Mr. Singleton. I wonder, have we had any kind of conversation with the community about it? And the only reason I'm asking that is because I've gotten several phone calls. I'm kind of surprised that I haven't heard something in here today, to be honest.
This is the first time that I'm hearing of the concern.
Okay.
I've not heard it before.
Overstood, Ms. Curry. I wonder if, in response to that concern, though, there is an opportunity for us to have conversations with the community about this to kind of allay some concern and also possibly answer some questions.
We'll work with the communications office to put something out about how we use the cans and what kind of information and data it collects.
I didn't hear you, Mr. Singleton.
We'll work with the communications office about putting something out about how the cans function and what kind of information they collect.
Okay, all right. Is there an opportunity for us to have meetings, though, with the community?
If that's the desire of the commission, we can do so.
And if I might add, Mr. Mayor, we can incorporate the education around the cans in our community first meetings and any other neighborhood advisory group meetings that we have. That's a way we can get it out there.
Okay. I think hearing their concerns, I think would be interesting, especially Manager Curry, since you said you've not heard anything. I can definitely, I understand. I do want to make sure, though, that we are able to position ourselves to be able to respond, because I've gotten questions that I'm not able to respond to. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Engel.
Two questions. One, the actual money for this is solid waste fund, right? So this is garbage money that is dedicated to garbage. It can't be used for general fund type stuff. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I'll put this up here. So in the enterprise fund, let's see that. Oh. So this here just shows the enterprise fund on the far right at the end of 2024, roughly 8.2 million, and then projected revenues for 2025 and expenditures of 16.7 million. And if you'll notice, in fiscal year 26, it drops back down to 15.9. So this money was planned on, hopefully being spent to get these garbage cans in place so that we could meet ordinance requirements. And it would just be a one-time expenditure here, and that's it. So yes, it's available here.
Very good. And then are these upgradable? Can we get Spotify? Can we get Netflix?
I wish, right? Projections. Not that I'm aware of.
That's all I've got.
All right.
Thank you, Commissioner Engel. Commissioner Willetts.
A question in the opposite direction. Can we make them less smart at the end of 60 months? Can we say we don't need them to talk to us? Maybe we put them in places that are less high traffic, and then just let it be a not smart trash can where we will just have to collect it on our schedule or when it overflows?
Absolutely. They have a not smart option is a good way to put it, but they're roughly $50 to $100. So you're getting a lot of bang for your buck to go smart. And it would, if we went dumb, basically it would just be just removing the software so that we
Right.
can no longer track it in the future. If we decided we wanted to do that, it could be done, yes.
Okay, I just leave that to remind people that it's not, we're not signing up for something in perpetuity that it has to be that extra $115 per unit. Like if it's at some point we say the smartness of it isn't the best impact, we really like the size and the, it's all, no varmints and no rain is in it. If that's, I just wanted to bring that up. So, and I had the similar questions about reminding us that it's from the solid waste. This is what it's for. It's not, and we can't go spend the solid waste money on, I don't know, other parts of public works parks or really anywhere else. It has to be within this realm. So
Yes.
thank you for reminding us, Mr. Singleton and Mr. Lloyd. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Duncan Walker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Is there a sense of urgency for us to decide this today?
So yes, we want to get it into this fiscal year because the money's not in next fiscal year. So that was the push. We really want to get these in place. We want to lead by example, come in and get our recycling and trash next to each other, so that as we move forward with the ordinance education and enforcement, we can say, hey, we've done it.
Also, we don't know what future costs might be. There's a lot, these electronic components, the materials that it's made out of, the markets are fluctuating. Everything's going up significantly. We are getting a discount on this volume of orders, so we would like to go ahead and move forward if at all possible.
I can understand that, Mr. Singleton. Thank you for mentioning that. My concern, once again, goes back to the opportunity for us to hear from our neighbors about their concerns, and I'm just wondering if we might be able to have a conversation before this commission says yes.
Commissioner, if I might, Mr. Mayor, I clearly understand your concern. As I had mentioned before, I don't think anyone from the department, I know I haven't, communications department, John Alexander and his, going out in the community a lot. We've just not heard the concern, but we're certainly happy to aggressively do some education, on this item. I would hope we would not hold it up, though, as a result of that, because we've had no feedback at all. I'm not sure who is communicating with you. I'm open to, you sharing that with me so we can go directly in.
Yeah.
But we've just not heard any concern about it in
Okay.
terms of, intelligence breaches.
I can understand that to a degree, but I think too, this also kind of gets to a process piece for me as well, just in terms when we're making decisions like this. I think, because the other piece was, I don't know whether you all heard, I think you did get some feedback about the cameras that we were getting ready to do. I know I received emails as well as text. Ms. Curry, had you gotten emails about that?
No, ma'am.
You had not? Okay, well, I got emails that I'm happy to share about that. But there's a general concern amongst different groups of people about surveillance overall. And for me, when people come to me, I like to be able to respond to them and allow them to hear and express their concerns before the commission makes a decision. That's really what this is for me.
So the units we're proposing to purchase, don't collect any type of personal identifiable information. There's no way to connect your cell phone to them. There's just no way to collect any personal identifiable data. The company has different units that are community type model, where you can have food waste, where there's a key that you enter into it, and that key is tied to people that are dumping their food waste into it. But this is not that type of unit. We're not collecting any data, personal identifiable data with these units.
And I guess what I could say to that is, if we move forward on this today, we have our educational piece, and if any concerns arise after the fact, then this commission, we would have spent the money. That's my problem. But we would, have to revisit that. But what were you getting ready to say, ma'am?
No, what I was saying, Commissioner, is the Bigbellies have been out there now for a couple of years. And I know Dan Zhu has come before the commission, and she's reported on more than a few occasions about the value of them. And I haven't heard any concerns. If the concerns were out there, even to the degree that it was 2 or 3 people that were, I haven't heard anything. But the whole point of educating the community, it is expensive. And it is smart. I don't think it's that smart though. It's a garbage can. I don't think there's an intelligence breach, but we need to be able to educate the community to that. And I'm open to that, and I'll make sure that I work with Jennifer to make that happen.
Okay, all right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner. So at the end of the day, we're buying garbage cans.
Correct.
Do
Garbage
they
and
have,
recycling.
do they have cameras?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. I mean. Yeah, okay. Is there a motion on the table? I'm sorry.
I move ordinance. Now I gotta
Not
know
even
where
an
we're at.
It's just an item.
I've lost.
It's 2025-518.
518.
I move 2025-518 purchase of the Bigbelly receptacles.
Second.
We have a motion second. Is there any public comment?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we have Angela Castillo.
Welcome, Ms. Castillo.
Angela Castillo. I don't know if you guys have seen this. Turn it around. Sorry. And why it's not in backup if you have. $575,000 for these. I was under the understanding that this was going to be at the end of the meeting today. And I kind of feel like springing it now was to keep certain people from speaking.
Hold on. Let's be real clear. I assumed that you were probably here for this, and I was trying to keep you from having to sit here till 10 or 11 o'clock tonight.
Well, I
That's
don't
why
care if
moved
I
it
sit here until
So,
10, 11
there you go.
o'clock tonight.
That
But
was my intent of putting it when it was, so let's not be
the
reaching for that.
feeling that this was done to keep others from speaking, there were some that had intended to be here at 5 p.m. How much do these cost to fix when they malfunction? What kind of data does it take in? And this was talked about with Commissioner Walker, so I appreciate that. Is this a grant or is this allocated money from the budget? The closed tops are available that are cheaper because they don't take in data. They're just closed tops and you just go and you do your normal routes. What about the others? Will they pick up those at the same time they pick up the Bigbellies? Because essentially it would be economically, it would not be economically beneficial if they did not pick up those on that route, because there would be an added fuel cost. So honestly, there is complaints that you can't balance the budget because of the government services contribution being significantly smaller than you're used to. And I mean, do what we do. Live within your budget. Cut things out that don't need to be there. This is one of them. Regardless if it was, I can understand if it was a grant because grants are allocated for specific things. I get that. But the problem is if it's part of the budget, you need to allocate that money towards government services such as fire and police. This can wait and be postponed, and I urge you to do so. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Castillo, and you all staff, please tell me if I'm incorrect. This is in the solid waste fund, which cannot be used for general fund purposes. It cannot be used for general fund purposes. The money exists. The items will be more expensive, more than likely, if we wait for them. And the money exists in the solid waste fund budget, which we cannot use for regular general fund purposes. If y'all want to, if you would put that back up on the screen, I think that might be helpful.
Mr. Mayor, this is not a general fund expense. It comes from the solid waste fund, which is an enterprise fund. And it can only be used for solid waste programming.
Correct.
This is a solid waste program.
Revenues from this fund come from your car rate service fees and from your commercial franchise fees. This funding can only be used for the solid waste stream, pickup, disposal, things related to solid waste. We cannot use it for police, fire, or any other government service.
Very good, okay. Thank you for that. Is there any other public comment?
That was our last commenter, thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Willets.
Mr. Singleton, can you give us just an example of something else that we've spent money out of that that fund, so that we kind of understand, like, these are the types of things that get spent out of that, so that we understand we collect it from trash customers, and then it gets spent roughly in the world of refuse.
So you have a dedicated staff related to the solid waste. So that's your curbside trash, recycling, yard waste, things that associated at the curbside. Your solid waste inspectors. So whenever there's a commercial property that's having an issue with their hauler, we have a team that goes out and looks at those things. Containers not being in compliance with the code. All your education regarding solid waste, whether it's zero waste principles in your household, going to schools to educate children on how to minimize the waste stream. A lot of your encampment cleans up is by the solid waste team. The same employees that empty the garbage cans also do your litter cleanup in the right of way. So instead of regularly stopping by these trash cans, they'll be able to spend more time picking up litter in other areas in the city. So those are some of the representative examples of the things that the solid waste fund.
Thank you for that, so that we understand there are other, we could spend this somewhere else. Maybe you hire another staff member in zero waste to be an educator, to be, there are some other options. But those are the trade-offs here are, these trash receptacles, and maybe that staff person, or more cleanups, or more ability to clean up in our natural areas where homeless people have been living. Not that the trade-off is, can we have another person at Parks and Rec, Public Works, Police, Fire, or if we need another accountant. So I just want to make sure that we understand, like, there are trade-offs, but not in that pool of services that the government does, just the pool of services that is provided by this one enterprise fund, which is, I always forget that those people are paid by that fund, because it's a big fund, and it pays for a lot of different people and services. Thank you, Mr. Singleton. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. All right, I don't see any other lights. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, that passes unanimously. Madam Clerk.